Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7th KZG-Ceremony call. We can just jump right into it. Does anybody have an update they want to start with from the last 2 weeks, or I guess 4 weeks because I was gone last week, or last time we met? So appreciate the notes, Kev, for putting those together. That was really helpful. But anybody have any perspectives? Maybe we could start with the audit that's wrapping up this week. Kev, if you want to give a perspective on where that's at and your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, sure. So the audit has finished and they're looking to write up the report. They gave a list of things that they've noted. In the implementation, it's mostly just cleaning up stuff like there's unused functions. I think it was from the from bytes because we wasn't sure if we was gonna still use from bytes or JSON. There was one issue which they said that we should fix, or we focused on, which is where I assumed that the SRS was going to be more than 2. So for us, this is the case. But if someone else tries to use a library and for some reason they don't check the SRS is like more than 2 in size, they would get a panic. So we're going to fix that. I think that was mainly the only issue that came up for the audit, that at least for the implementation. There were some other notes on spec consistency with the code, and I think Carl is going to probably modify those. Yeah, and that's mostly it from the audit. So it was looking good. There was like nothing nothing like big came up.
That's good. Yeah, nothing major is good news.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I've been looking over the coordination server and the specs for that. I don't know if I should talk about it now or if I should wait for everyone else to give an update.
I guess you're the only one really engaged in the audit, so we can probably wrap up there unless anybody has any questions. I guess next steps would be they're going to produce a report. If we haven't already, we'll respond to what they've written up and they'll include any of the changes in their final report. And that'll happen over, if it hasn't already, in the next week or so, right, Kev?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like there's anything that would change how that would significantly change the other components, like the coordinator or the interface, anything like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's nothing sort of major changing or anything like this. We can sort of just continue on and just wait for them to publish the report and just make the changes that they requested.
Okay, great. Yeah, then we can move on to the other components. If you want to talk about the coordinator, and then yeah, Jeff can talk about what he's done, and we'll just cycle through everybody.
Yeah, so I was looking over the coordinator stuff just to see the scope of work and sort of what issues we're going to run into when I was looking at the specs. I guess the main issue that I saw was JWT token usage. It seems that we should probably just use a session ID. I tried to implement it with using just JWT tokens, and because you can't revoke them, you sort of get into these clumsy edge cases where you sort of just doing a clumsier version of sessions. So yeah, this morning I've just looked into try to use sessions instead of JWT tokens, and most of the edge cases sort of just disappear. I also modified the way that we do the queuing. I did speak to Jeff about it, just basically on the coordinator not needing everybody in the queue to ping. So we only care about like K participants being online at a specific time, where K can be like 100, for example. So added that change in. Yeah, and that's mostly it on my part. I can go into any other. If anyone has any questions, I can go into more details. Yeah, I did also look at the CLI, which I thought was going to be a bit difficult. Because essentially we don't really want people to copy and paste. If they want to use the CLI, we don't want them to copy and paste the link into the browser, but this is actually an easy issue to fix where the CLI will just pop up a web browser with a sign-in, and they just sign in and then it sort of disappears, goes back to the CLI, and then they just continue on sort of contributing. So that was pretty nice to see that the UX for that is not actually too bad. Yeah, and that was mainly it.
Great. Yeah, and I assumed if you've talked to Jeff, then that's probably the person I'd want most of that information to go to. So if you've already done that, that's great.
So that was the issue about, I think what we landed on is if we only ask people to check in when they're in the last 2 hours of the queue, in the case where the queue is longer than that. Is that what we were talking about, Kev?
Yeah, so the one I posted in the public KZG-Ceremony. So the coordinator just basically says, I only care about the first 100 or 1,000 people in the queue.
Yeah.
And we only need them to ping. I also took off the I don't know if it was exponential, but the time back off. So each person just pings like every 3 minutes, which is roughly the time, the upper bound that we give each participant.
Oh.
So like the coordinator, the people that he's watching, he knows that for at least for the last 3 minutes, they've been online. So it's like simpler to implement because we just need to check every 3 minutes or whatever the upper bound is. So like the person second in line, I know that they was online 3 minutes ago, at least.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. There's probably something there I haven't checked out, but I didn't get that 3 minutes, but that's okay. Where did you say you posted that?
It was in the KZG-Ceremony public when I think I posted a while back. Sorry, the 3 minutes. It was just the upper bound. I don't actually know if it's 3 minutes, but each participant has X amount of time before they're just taken too long, and we have to sort of push them out of the queue.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So everybody checks in for this amount of time, for example. I don't know if it's actually 3 minutes. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'll check that out. But, yeah, I did make sure that 8-hour thing was in the spec, not the 8 hour, the 2 hour thing. So they're only checking in for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't. Like I guess estimating time seemed to be a bit erroneous because I didn't know how to sort of estimate 2 hours unless we sort of just put an upper bound and just say each participant 3 minutes. Yeah, so I don't know how we would estimate the 2 hours sort of accurately.
Yeah, but the point is, it doesn't have to be too accurate, because in 2 hours you're going to get maybe a couple of hundred contributions, and there'll be enough. There'll be a sort of normal distribution. So the average will be, it won't be too far away from the average contribution time. So then they go, once they hit the 2 hours, they start going into a more frequent cadence. And it gets more and more accurate the closer they get to the deadline, right?
But how do you estimate the 2 hours? Because like 2 people could be in the queue and one person could take like 12 seconds and the other could take like 3 minutes to contribute.
Yeah, but if you're 2 hours away, there's going to be 200 of those people, and it'll, chances are it's going to be, it's going to smooth it, the average. It's going to converge to the average.
Right, but how do you?
It's not going to be an hour out, is it?
I guess I don't know how you'd say this is going to take 2 hours or roughly 2 hours by looking at the queue, because each person takes a different amount of time.
Yeah, that's true, but it's a like a log normal distribution, so it's not going to be too unpredictable.
Right. I guess how do you determine how long one person takes? Like if I pretend like I have this 2 hour parameter, and somebody is 1,000 is like the 1,000th person, how do you sort of roughly estimate how long like it's gonna take for them? Like do you
Well, if they've got 1,000 people in front of them, then it's
right.
going to be even more likely to converge to the average. So, as long as we get within a couple of hours, we're good, because it's unlikely to be that far away from the estimate.
Maybe I should ask my question by giving what I think the answer is. So I think you take the last 100 participants and then see what their average is. Like if they all took like 3 minutes, then the average is 3 minutes, and then that's how you figure out how long everyone else is going to take.
Oh yeah. That something like that was implicit in my. Yeah, I was assuming something like that we'd
Okay.
know what the average is based on some kind of history.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. They both seem like good ideas. You can take the average, or you can just set a parameter for like 200. I think 2 hours would probably be better. Maybe would it be better?
Oh, I see. So, like, yeah, if it was 200, we'd know exactly when they're 200. So
Yeah, it's a bit
there's
more
no estimating involved. So
right.
that might make more sense.
I was gonna say something
Oh,
about time would be better, but yeah, maybe we should take it offline because I think there's
no, yeah, we still need to estimate the time though, because we need to give them a time to check in.
Time to check in.
When they first log in, we'll know what position they are on the queue, but we won't. We'll have to tell them when to check in again, and that. And if they're 8 hours away from the deadline, then there's no point checking in for the next 6 hours, kind of thing.
Right. My assumption was that they would sort of just keep polling the coordinator to see where they are in the queue, and then once they get into the 200th position, then they'd need to start pinging the coordinator to check in. So anything more than 200, you just don't need to check in at all.
Okay, so they poll, but they don't actually check in, right?
Right.
There's
so
no requirement to prove their life. Okay, that's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So the coordinator, they don't need to scale with the amount of people in the queue. It's just the first 200 that they really care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be good to discuss the pros and cons of both of them. I did have a pro for the time, but I can't remember what it is now. So yeah, take it offline.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. The other thing you mentioned, session IDs. Okay, so we just hand a random session ID that is good is good until they log off, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I tried to do the JWT tokens way, and well, the first thing is you can't have a JWT that lives for a long time, but it's just not sort of recommended. It's usually you have a short-lived JWT and a long-lived a short-lived access token and a long-lived refresh token.
Yeah.
But then you sometimes get into these sort of edge cases where the person is finished. You don't want to give them access to the API anymore, but because you can't revoke access to a JWT access token, you just have to wait for it to expire. You sort of have these edge cases where the coordinator has to sort of store this state to say that although it hasn't expired, you're not allowed access anymore. And this is like basically you might as well just do sessions and just have the coordinator store the state. So yeah, I kept bumping into these sort of edge cases, and it seems session IDs would just be a bit easier. Because of both strategies, the client is going to need to hold something that if it gets leaked, someone can just impersonate them, even with the access token.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, I'll need to see if there's any implications there. So I'll discuss it with Nico. And Takamichi, if you've got anything, any comment on that you can think of, then let us know.
Okay, I will take a look into the tokens. Yep.
Yeah, it might be more of a Nico thing. I just want to see, because there was something Nico's doing with the authorization, especially for GitHub, and I think he needed that JWT, but
right.
I don't know the details.
Yeah, so I implemented the auth server, and for the auth server, they do need JWT tokens, but you take the JWT as the coordinator, and then you sort of issue a session ID plus an ID token.
Okay. Yeah.
You auth with GitHub, what we really need is an ID token, not an access token to access GitHub. We just need the ID information. Of their GitHub.
Right.
So without sessions, I was sort of taking the ID token, then you can give them a coordinator access token. So an access token to access the coordinator API. So I just swapped it out to give them a session ID instead. But yeah, I can, if Nico can ping me on the public channel, that'd be good to talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess the auth stuff was easier than expected, just because there's like third-party services that just basically allow you to click buttons and just do add sign in with Ethereum, add GitHub and stuff like this. So that part was quite easy. I was expecting us to sort of needing to implement the sign in with Ethereum stuff from scratch or something like this.
Are you using the Spruce ID stuff?
Yeah, exactly. The auth0.
That's a pretty awesome confluence. I've been involved in like helping them with various like random bits of their project. So it's really cool to see everyone else starting to use it at, like, like it was intended to be. That's great to hear.
Yeah, it's really nice that they've made that. And you don't need to, I think they just extract the public key from having you sign some sort of message. So yeah, it's really nice that what they've done. I didn't add the checks that are needed. As I understand, there's a check for Ethereum addresses not more than 3 and GitHub addresses. I think I can't remember what the GitHub check was. But yeah, so it's really nice that the API that they have.
Awesome. Also, I don't think Nico's on this call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry. Probably have to take it offline if Jeff can.
Yeah. I'll get in touch with him.
Okay. One question I did have just related to that is, did we choose GitHub and Ethereum just because they were easier, or is it possible to add different ones?
Yeah, I think it was really just it seemed to be Ethereum was a natural call, and then someone said we should have GitHub as an alternative. So
Right.
that was like the second most natural thing to go to. There's no reason why we couldn't expand it to other social IDs or whatever.
Right. Right.
But it's all got to balance the development effort and everything. But I know with Auth0, it's quite easy to just add a new source, isn't
Yeah.
it? But then are we going to get more participants by doing that in huge numbers? And what sort of each one we'd have to devise a filter to make sure the anti-civil properties are still being maintained.
Yeah, exactly. I guess if I was to say if I was to suggest a different one to add, probably Discord, but then I think there's a lot of bots on Discord. I'm not really sure how I'm not really sure about Discord actually.
Yeah, I'd say that the two we have are probably pretty solid. I mean, I'd even lean towards doing just one, but it seems like there are some people there's some people interested in having GitHub as a sign-in. So I think that's fine.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah.
The justification was again that thing with the cold wallet was the one with the nonce greater than 3, so people might be reluctant to get that out of cold storage, and so they want to use the GitHub instead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Question: do we have any way of if somebody uses GitHub to sign in, we don't get any information about their Ethereum address, do we?
No.
No. Just a GitHub ID and I think their nickname.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking about when we issue the pull-up after the fact, once the submissions are over, that'll be something to call out in the UI, I guess.
Oh, I see.
You have a bit of like 2 different user paths.
Yeah.
Depending on the auth type.
Right.
Not the end of the world, but just something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's manageable, that problem. We can just issue a code and tell them to sign in with the GitHub to claim the code, something like that.
Okay.
Oh, you could still do it?
Yeah. I think that's after the fact, right?
Yeah.
I think we can also just tell them to pass in an Ethereum address along with the authorization code. Because when they sign in with GitHub,
oh, I see.
They get an auth code, and then the auth code gets sent to the coordination server. So if they send the auth code plus an Ethereum address, we can just sort of put them together like that.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, I don't really know how the POEP stuff is going to work. If it's another sign in with X, then it might be to do what Jeff said and just have them sign in with GitHub again. But I don't know how it works.
Okay. Yeah, definitely something to start thinking about. Obviously, it's not like this isn't the most important part of the whole thing, but it would be a nice feature to have as part of the entire ceremony.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna quickly say, Jeff, I implemented a client that calls the coordination server, and it seemed the best way to do it was to have like a proxy server that calls the coordinator. Then you can sort of hide all of the HTTP cookies. You can just hide them from the front end. Is that what you guys also did?
No.
So the front. Oh.
Yeah, no, I don't quite get you. Where's the proxy?
So like on the front end, there's an Express JS server that gets launched.
Yeah.
That like all the roots of the Express JS server call the like the coordinator. So like you can do /auth and then it calls like /coordinator /auth. So then
Oh, okay, yeah.
So then
Yeah, that is what we're doing.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cookies, I guess, HTTP only. So then the front end never actually accesses them.
I thought we were doing without cookies.
I think you need cookies to. Oh wait, did we remove cookies? Currently I'm saving. I'm saving the
I think we removed cookies. At Carl's suggestion, he doesn't. He thinks there might be a suggestion that we're saving secrets or something, and just we want to avoid any possible appearance of that kind of thing.
Oh, so if we are avoiding cookies, then we can't do sessions. Because the session ID is stored inside of the cookie. I didn't know that. I wasn't sure if we concluded to remove cookies because you said something about it being beneficial.
Oh yeah, just for that edge case where they have to where they want to sign back in, or and avoid having to go through the signing with their Ethereum address again. But then, I think Carl did have a good point about trying to avoid appearances of saving private data.
Right. Yeah, so if we can't use cookies, then I think we're back to the sort of stateless approach. Wait, so then if you can't use cookies, how do I ping the coordination server and he knows who I am? I guess you just save it.
No, yeah, so coordinators issued you a session ID. You remember that in memory for the duration of the session. If you do close the browser or something, you're gone. You have to sign in again.
Oh, I see. And then that means that if I leave and then, oh no, that's fine. No.
Yeah, I don't think that's, unless I'm like missing some of the nuance. I think that's okay if you close the browser, have to sign in again.
Yeah. I think that works. Okay, yeah, I think that's actually fine, actually. Yeah. So we can still do the session way. We just have to store it in memory instead. And so if I log out, the coordination server has to eventually clean up my session, the previous session that I had. So if I close the browser, he has to eventually clean out that session. And I can sign in. I'm not allowed to wait. Can I sign in? Because I can't be added to the queue again until he's cleaned up my previous session, right?
Oh, well, so as long as you're not away for longer than your check-in duration. So as long as you do sign in and check in before your check-in duration, then you can retain your position in the queue. But then you've got to.
currently the logic that I'm going by is that once you're added to the queue, you
You got to stay live.
will not stay alive, but you sort of have to remember your queue ID, I guess, which is the session ID in this case.
It
So
could
if
be
you
linked to a user ID, right?
But then if you log out, you're already in the queue with a different session ID. So
Well, if someone logs in and they're already in the, we can determine that they're already in the queue, and automatically refresh the session ID.
right. Okay.
Like that's the trigger to actually clear that session, that old session ID.
Right. Okay. Yeah, then that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's fine then. Yeah.
If it's all right, I just want to jump to
Mhm.
the other components of this, and then we can get back into any other discussion.
Sure.
So Chiali or Chiali, actually, I don't know how to pronounce your name. And Takamichi, if you want to give an intro, it's good to meet you both verbally, but if you want to just, I don't know if you were on the call last week, but talk about what you've been working on. And I keep saying last week, but it was 2 weeks ago. Just give a quick update to anything you've been working on.
Can I go first?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Takamichi, and I've joined this KZG Trusted Setup team from this week actually, and I am working on front end client for the MVP of the dashboard and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, I now dig into the existing code base and try to catch up all the things. Yeah, nice meeting you guys.
So this is going to be the interface for the front end that people actually use to interact with the
Yes.
coordinator.
Yeah.
Great.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Charlie. I think last week I kind of tried to show off my design with a couple of engineers, and I I just realized I need to make out an MVP version, and I have a kind of good flow for now for the MVP, and it's in the Figma if anyone wanna see it. I have a question. Though the last week, I think when I met Carl and Cave, we were talking about the entropy, and we say we need to have input for user to enter some random secret. In the design, I put just 8 digit. Is that okay or enough? Should we have more string or?
I think preferably it should be like unlimited, and then we can sort of just apply some maybe hash function on top of it or something like this.
Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking like better have a bit directive to the user. If we ask like they type anything, then I'm kind of feel like they will fall into this rabbit hole, like what do I type?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can prompt them to just type a random string. We can make it pretty explicit, and like they don't have to type out a story or anything about themselves personally, but we can guide them along the path of generate something random that's not easy to remember. And yeah, hopefully they don't think too hard about making something random.
Okay, and so those random, you can have it doesn't matter what kind of character, right? Like it can be special character or space whatsoever, right?
Yeah, I think that any character should be fine. We probably just reinterpret it as bytes anyways.
Okay. Yeah, so that's my update, and I don't know if we want to have a design review at some point, or how do you guys prefer that?
I think I'll just keep working on you at least today and tomorrow or for the next few days about refining some of the imagery. And then maybe on the next, I don't know if it makes sense to have a separate call just for design, but I'm curious what other people think.
Is this design review of the MVP?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe we can fit it into these calls. I don't know how sort of how long it would take, but yeah, do you think it's possible to fit it into these calls, or would it need like a whole separate?
I was thinking that maybe if today after everyone's discussion, if we have like 15 minutes, I can at least walk through some design thinking, and then maybe can do async for now. And if we kind of feel like, okay, everybody's talking about different things, maybe you can schedule a like refocused design review.
I'm fine with that. I can stick around. I know Jeff is heading towards bed, but I'm happy to provide feedback today.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So that's my update. Thank you.
Great. Amit, are you just listening in, or are you planning to work on something?
Yeah, I'm just here for to see how you guys building a good ceremony. So I prefer to listening to you.
Okay. You're welcome to listen. One thing that came to mind, do we need, I'm forgetting the name of the library, but a while back we were talking about the Hermes team updating a library that we needed to use. Is that still the case, or did they update it for our use case already?
So yeah, that was Snark.js. We've gone with Kev's Rust code for that purpose.
Oh, right. Okay, so we don't even need it anymore.
So yeah, that's not in our critical path for them to do, for sure.
Okay, good. Let's see.
I should probably update you with the other things.
Sure, go ahead.
The client API, I think, is kind of settled now. There's obviously a couple of things, like the things I was talking about earlier with Kev. A few things going to change, but basically it's been merged into the specs. You can find it in the KZG-Ceremony repo, and yeah, expecting just sort of minor changes from here. Nico has been progressing on developing that API. It's going pretty well. We've got a server under construction. We hope to be releasing something. Well, it's sometime soon, but before the next one of these meetings, we should be able to have something to release for test purposes. What else? Yeah, and the design thing. So Charlie organized meetings on the design function. So there was input from several of us, and that sort of spun off a lot of other discussions too, some of which we've already talked about. Yeah, so that's my update.
Great, thank you. And I don't know if it was talked about, or at least broached, but the goal here for at least timelines is that we'd want to be able to do contributions at DEF CON. So that's in mid-October. That gives us a month and a half exactly. And so a few weeks out from DEF CON, we'd need to at least have something stable that we can be running initial contributions through to make sure there isn't a, catastrophic bug or something that we missed that requires refactoring, something like that. So if we work backwards from DEF CON, couple weeks out, so like I'd say the third week of September, we should probably have something that we are putting contributions through and is reasonably stable. Does this seem feasible to everybody? It's great that we have new people joining, but I just want to make sure that there's actually enough time to complete this, or whether it's even feasible. So I'm curious what other people think.
Could you clarify on the front end part? So for DevCon, I guess we just need the MVP front end to be done, which is really simple. I guess Charlie can comment on that part. For the coordination server, I think it should be feasible. I'm thinking maybe 2 weeks out, we should have, 2 weeks from today, we should have like a coordination server sort of up. Maybe a week and a half. I feel like we need to sort of battle test this a tiny bit before it even goes out.
Sure.
So yes, on the front end, I guess, Charlie, if you could comment on that. Jeff, on the coordination server, does the timeline seem feasible?
Yeah, it does. Testing wise, I've asked Nika to generate lots of sort of automatic testing with bulk big numbers of hits to try and do automated battle testing, but then we probably need some real life testing as well. I think timeline's very clear.
Does this also include the sort of task of separating the client from the front end from the coordination server, or the client from the coordination server?
The client will use the API, right? So it is quite separate from the database. It doesn't touch the database.
Right, but I thought that currently the state was that we had the GitHub, and then it had the client code, which was somewhat coupled to the coordination server code. Is that? Yes.
So that separation will disappear, and it'll be quite independent. And we'll put it into a separate repo. In fact, it's already in a separate repo as it's being developed now.
Right. So this will be done in line for the DevCon thing that we spoke about.
Yeah.
The DevCon dev, right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Takamichi said, I don't know if people can see the recording on Zoom. I'm mostly writing front-end code. Takamichi, do you think that the MVP will be, for the front-end, will be done by the times listed? So I guess roughly 2 weeks, we can say 2-3 weeks.
I think the basic functionalities can be in time, but for we need some time to like actually testing it using the like integration wise testing, like through the front end to the backend and coordinator. So yeah, I think if we can take enough time to test it and maybe fixing the issues, then I think the mostly
Right.
code code freeze around September 23.
Right. I guess since it's just the front end, you could just spec out the actual information that's going to be there. Like you don't need the data to be there, right?
Mhm.
In terms of testing. So I guess as long as the front end UX uses the same structures as the client is using, then it should be okay.
Okay.
I think, since it's quite predictable what information you're going to be getting. But sorry. But yeah, maybe there's stuff around timeouts and stuff like this that needs to be spec. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess in 2-3 weeks it seems feasible for everybody.
And the MVP is avoiding everything around the transcript and, all the sort of scaffolding around the experience, or anything beyond just making a basic contribution. Is that
Right.
correct? Yeah.
I think it would include the transcript, and the coordination. The coordinator would need to save it somewhere where everyone can see it.
Oh, okay. So that you do think that is part of the MVP?
Yeah, like I think the transcript should ideally be a part of it. When I was doing the coordination survey, for the most part, you can implement it without even by abstracting the transcript. So it's something that you can sort of just put in last minute. So I don't think it should be too bad to add it in. Jeff, could you like confirm that?
Sorry, what are we adding in?
So for the contributions, the transcripts stuff would be included. Sorry, for the MVP.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The things that are not included are maybe not a fancy dashboard, and some of the other frills.
Right. So the MVP will basically just be cutting out on UI.
Okay, that leads me to the question of, do we have all of the tasks or features that we want to include written down anywhere? Is the MVP written down anywhere?
That's a good question. I don't think it is.
That's fine,
Well,
and we can just write it down, or Charlie has it.
Yeah, Charlie's Figma document is kind of where that's being developed.
Oh, the other text document. I've seen there are two, right?
I think more the actual design file, the Figma one. I don't have like a condensed list, but I kind of feel I already expressed all we need for the MVP in my design. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this transcript, sorry, this transcript thing is is it the same thing as the hash, Jeff?
Oh yeah, well, a hash is what we used to use. I think we're calling it like a public key in the specs. So that's not really transcript, no.
Okay. So this transcript will only available when the contribution complete, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can add about it. And so is it for people to download or it's for people to see?
Yeah, what do we actually need for an MVP for a user to access? I mean, the coordinator will be keeping the transcript, but for an MVP, what do we really need the user to?
I guess it depends on if the MVP is going to be running after DevCon as well. And other people who are going to be in the MVP, will they be basically a small group of people? If the MVP is just for DevCon, then we'd need to also show how to verify it after like it's finished. So we show people contributing, then it stops, and then we sort of show how to verify your contribution after the fact. If it's only a closed group set of people, then I think the queuing mechanism can be simplified by just not kicking people out, because we just know where like you're right there. Like the queuing mechanism wouldn't need to be as complicated, because we don't need to sort of account for bad actors. So I guess it depends on those two.
It'll be a closed group leading up to DEF CON, and even at DEF CON, I don't think we're going to be, we're not going to have mass contributions. The main goal, so for anybody who wasn't aware, didn't have this relayed, we are planning to do, ideally there would be a contribution live on the main stage during one of the kickoff keynotes. And we already have a slot scheduled. And the main goal for why we want to do this is to just get people aware of it, give a very, very basic intro to what this ceremony is, and that people can expect it to go live for public contributions in November and December, roughly. But yeah, there won't be, we won't like be accepting contributions from the broader community. It'll just be like a single, it'll be like Danny or Aya on stage walking through it, and somehow we'll get some crowd generated randomness into this interface. Yeah, mainly just an educational or introduction tool about like what this thing is, why it's important. Probably no more than 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, I'd say.
Right.
But yeah, that's the main goal of why we want this for DEF CON, is so we can introduce the broader community to why it's important and when they can expect to contribute.
Right. Yeah, so if that's the case for the MVP, you could have a simpler queuing mechanism, because you can just assume there's not going to be any sort of bad participants, people trying to DOS it or anything.
Right, and it could be gated by a, I think Charlie has this in the MVP, could gate it with a passcode or something.
Yeah, I think you can create like username and passwords and give it out to people, like just create like 100 or something. I don't know how many closed, how big the closed group is, but I think you can do something like that.
All right, we're in the last 5 minutes. Does anybody else have anything before, I guess, Jeff drops off or other people leave?
Yeah, I might stay on for the further discussion, but there was one thing that came up. One thing that came up was my discussion. I had a call with guys from CryptoSat, one of the founders from CryptoSat, and just to see if the kind of thing we're doing is the kind of thing they do, if there was some kind of fit. Seems like there is. It's basically the reason for their existence is doing this kind of thing. They do trusted setups for all kinds of situations, and they do like signing for root certificates and that kind of thing. So I guess it comes down to, is the service going to be going to add something to this ceremony, and is it worth the price? And it's I guess that would fall into our like crazy ideas phase, which is probably towards the end of the year, after the public contributions. But the suggestion from Yan, who is the founder I talked to, there was start the discussion early, because it gets a bit complicated and might take a while to work through. But yeah, if we do have any interest in that, then well, I can continue that discussion with them, or have it move on somehow. But yeah, I think we'd probably need to first get an idea: is it of value to us? Is it going to add a lot of security?
Well, I mean, like each of these unique ceremony contributions, when we're doing this, like you said, the crazy ideas, or when we're giving out grants for this stuff, I guess the additional marginal security isn't like that significant, but it's more, these are situations which are part of the spectacle and part of the larger process. So, I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to it. It's, I'm curious, what did they give you any sort of price range?
No, afraid not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be the first thing I'd be curious about. But yeah, we can still start talking to them, and yeah, it's a good reminder. If we do need to start moving earlier on this, then that should happen soon.
Wait, what are they offering?
So they
go
have
ahead.
they have satellites. They're like there's CubeSats, and they've currently got one up in space. So it's a totally isolated environment. We would give them code that and test the code on the ground, and then they upload it to the satellite. We book some time, and then at that time we upload our transcript and get them to do the contribution, and they download the contribution. All those communications are public, so we know there's no sort of secrets being siphoned off or something, and there's no chance of any side channel attacks and that kind of thing. So that's the selling proposition.
Yeah, I guess it'd be good to also figure out how they're sort of getting the randomness in the satellite.
Yeah, but assuming they do this all the time, they'd have a way of solving that problem.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that seems really interesting. Yeah, I'd also be interested in the price for something like this. It seems pretty expensive.
All right. Is there anything else related to general ceremony, things that we should be aware of over the next few weeks? It sounds like everybody's on a pretty good path towards getting an MVP interface stood up with all the backend plugging into it. So that's exciting. And if there's nothing else, we can move into the design review for another 15 or so minutes. All right, I'll let you, if you want to share your screen, Charlie.
Yeah, okay. If you guys prefer Figma file, there's a link I just pasted in the chat. May I have the permission to share screen?
Let me know if that works.
Okay. Oh no, I need to grab my, sorry. I need to grab my.
Do you have to
files.
restart Zoom or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay? You guys come to Figma? Will that be easier?
Oh, you mean just do it verbally? I don't know if anybody's on mobile. I guess that might be harder to.
Oh
use
yeah,
Figma.
Jeff is on. Okay, just give me. Let me.
If you need to restart Zoom, that's okay. It
Okay,
only take a second, I think.
Yeah, I'm leaving now.
All right.
Hello, I'm back. Try to share screen.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm just kind of lost all my things. Okay, that's fine. So after last week's kind of quick design meeting, I remove a lot of things. So basically, just a single page app. I'm thinking, and we talk about how to get this experience. And there's a couple of ideas surface like invitation code or whitelist, or sooner we talk about username or password. So I think we kind of need to have a settlement here because we need to kind of like build a logic here. And then when user land on this landing page, for example, if they are in mobile, basically telling them this experience only on desktop. So kind of like not continue from here. And the landing page, you guys see a bit similar like last week. I did add the coordinator online, just kind of status here, and some kind of copy need to refine, and the someone nice. So have two people in the queue and approach, kind of give a user how long they have to wait, and talk about how impactful about this ceremony, more detail in here instead of like just very vibe text. After that, kind of showing how does the ceremony work and a couple of FAQs. So this is the landing page. So imagine user either sign in or get started. So I will kind of go to this flow, or kind of open this kind of full screen model. If user want to go back, they can click the logo to go back, and they can choose sign in with Ethereum or GitHub. So sign in Ethereum, you have two choice, or you open the GitHub auth model. Let's say today I'm signing with MetaMask, and then I need to sign my signature. And here kind of have a feedback like, okay, it's checking. Once user sign, we will kind of transit to this page. Just kind of inform again, there's two people in the queue, and are they ready to contribute? So this is the question I asked sooner. Once they click this ready to go, they will get into this screen where we ask them kind of random secret string or whatever we want to call it. And here I add a message that it's very important they need to be online for a certain period of time and stuff like that. And once they enter the secret message or whatever, they will enter queue. So when they click this enter queue, they actually go back to the home page. So there will be a couple of CSS animation I imagine, and Takamichi can give me a lot of that, don't worry. So here we kind of have the wallet address showing here, and user is in the queue. So this kind of act as a progress bar. So those are 20%, whatever. Once it's to users turn, then this will kind of start initiate the contribution. And actually this will also transit to this screen where have kind of progress bar here or something. I'm kind of thinking make a nice animation with couple imagery here, but I'm not sure what to do yet. start, and then when you complete, just change the text again and show. So previously we have this view, the hash, and sooner we talk about transcript. Is this where it's supposed to happen, or?
I'm not sure what the hash is referring to.
Yeah, that'd be public key in our terminology, I think.
Okay, yeah. So that wouldn't be the transcript, so it'd be the public key.
It's
And
their individual contribution, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the public key that is associated with their contribution.
Oh, so is it literally just the public key of, well, if they're signing with GitHub, is that not exposed?
Oh, so I think here it's the public key that they used to contribute to the ceremony. So the randomness that they generated, there's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and the transcript is everyone's public keys strung together in some sort of specific format.
That's what it used to be, but now it's basically just the SRS, so just the powers of tau.
Okay.
Well,
either way, I'm digressing a little.
Oh, it's fine.
And this transcript will be used for verify your contribution, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, so there's going to be one transcript at the end with a bunch of these how do I say, like you're going to have a bunch of public keys plus a final transcript plus the initial transcript and plus something from each transcript, the intermediate transcripts, and that's how you verify.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So like if all of us contributed, I contribute with a transcript, I contribute and then I send the transcript, and the coordinator basically takes one thing from it. And then he sends maybe Trent the next transcript, Trent contributes and modifies it, then he sort of takes something from there as well. So he's sort of taken the summary of each transcript, except for the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this I remember we talked about the ceremony supposed to run like 3 months or so. Is the verification supposed to be like end of ceremony or during the ceremony? Because this kind of just MVP just to let people aware about this. It's the verify needed here, because if we rewind to the full-blown version, there was where user come back and verify and then claim the pull-up. That's kind of what we said last week. It's this transcript need to be in this like very simple MVP version, or
I think if we're gonna show the ceremony ending at DevCon, then people want to probably see like how do we verify, like how do we do the verification process or some way to verify, because the security is sort of not just based on someone contributing. They sort of have to verify that their contribution was included.
okay. So this give me a bit confusion here. The MVP we doing for DevCon, is it kind of just a prototype version, or is gonna be continuously used to become an official ceremony? Is it just a demo app, or is it an app we continue to build and become an official version?
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines it would just be an early version of the one we end up with.
Yeah, I have this in mind, and I feel this transcript does demonstrate the importance here. It just if we close, you feel like it just this gonna end up as a demo, and then I don't know. I'm just putting my 2 cents. Right? You guys tell me how to do it.
Right. I guess if you're verifying after the fact, one way you could do is just have like a text box, and then it says search for this person's GitHub or search for this person's Ethereum address, and then that just makes an API call to the coordinator, and then the coordinator just says, yeah, this is the public key that was, so this person contributed, here's the public key, it was at this position, and then that's it, like, for example. So just a simple text box that you can sort of say GitHub or Ethereum, and then it just asks the coordinator, did this person contribute after the ceremony is done? For the MVP, I think for the front end, that would be pretty, I don't want to say, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but maybe that'll be easy to do. Like just, I guess just like a text box in the middle. Or even like, even here where it says contributing completed, I guess if the ceremony's done, then another button just there that says verify contribution. Because yeah, in my head, I feel like the verification part is also quite important, even for the MVP. It doesn't really need to look good, in my opinion. Just the information is there to say it's been verified, and
so how about we I think in the very previous version we have a kind of like at least a table after somebody complete. Is this just good enough for our MVP for DEFCON?
I guess for the MVP, this is sort of something a bit different. These are sort of, oh wait, this stores the transcripts. I guess so. It's just that once this is completed, there's sort of a final transcript that everyone says this is the one. And those things that you just showed don't need to be included in it, which is why they usually check after the fact.
Yeah, but in these screens, there's a hash column, and if we take that as the equivalent of the public key, like in the screens we're looking at for that Zcapu one, that hash would be the thing they're looking up in the history to make sure it's there in the history, and it's made it into the final transcript. So our equivalent is to use the public key for that purpose.
Right. I was saying that I think we need the functionality to actually check that it was in the final output. So we could have this table here, but I think we still need to check that whatever the finalized thing is, like these contributions were included.
Yeah.
So we should add a table and have a button to verify. Is that just simplify my to-do list? I'm sorry.
I mean,
yeah, I think it wouldn't be a table like this. It's just like a separate page where it would accept. It's like a search and accept either a GitHub ID or an Ethereum address, and search for that identity and return the public key for that identity.
Okay, so we should have a kind of a record page.
Yeah, it's like a records page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no frills version of that.
Okay, that much simpler version. This is kind of the more like then I think I will throw back to Takamichi. Is that feasible? Because
Yeah, I
I
think,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm.
I think the only using the text box and like ask to the coordinator is the simplest way to do it. So yeah, definitely it's feasible.
so right, so I'm gonna add a page. Then the homepage will reserve as kind of communication and enable people to start contributing. And if they want to kind of verify or should see a record, they have another page to for that. And I'm gonna keep that page super simple. And so I guess I will throw back the question to you guys, like how do you guys plan to do the gated for DevCon? Can take offline, but it's up to you guys. I need to mark up a screen, that's all.
I think if we just give out a code, just like a string, random letters and numbers, that's fine. Or some sort of password gating is totally fine. It doesn't have to be we don't have to have username and passwords that we preset as a whitelist or anything.
Okay.
And then we can just make sure that we have the ability to change it.
So somebody needs to have a validation of this code, right? We need to build that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the coordinator could just store a bunch of codes, like probably 300, like 200. I don't know how many people. Maybe 100 is good enough. Or
Yeah, so those are the MVP design I have. For now, I haven't finished the graphic yet, but kind of like those type of like very simple lines, and yeah, I haven't finished fully yet.
Yeah,
Any-
I mean, I was
Mhm.
telling you, I think it's great to just be able to see each of the steps. It's really helpful for me. And then I'm going to help you work through what the languages or what the connection between each step in the process is and how we write a nice story
Thank you.
to fill that in.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Any other comment or feedback?
I guess at the end, we will need some language about the POAP of like, people will be like, oh, what do I do? When do I come back, claim this? So we will need some language there. And then also, it might be nice to have a prompt to share on Twitter, like share your contribution or invite others to contribute. And then it can be like a pre-filled tweet or something.
But in the DevCon, we plan to let those invitee to share, and then it might cost like other people want to contribute, but they got blocked, right?
Yeah. For like the public contribution, we'd want to have some sort of call to action at the end, just to make sure the meme is getting spread properly.
Right. Let me get this up. Yeah, so there was I remember in the current one we have a template like this. Probably need to rewrite a bit more detail or something. It is feel very vague, so the pre-made template need to revisit as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the general idea is there. I guess we wouldn't have an attestation exactly, like some things are going to be different, but for people who are signing in with Ethereum, but yeah, something like this would be perfect.
Okay. Okay, so there's any other thing I should include or I forgot or?
Great work.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I'll take that as a no.
It's too good, that's why.
Yes, yeah. It's, the quality is
Yeah.
excellent. Okay, there's a question from Amit. Is the transcript a set of messages that are sent between the participant and coordinator? No, the transcript would be the output of the entire ceremony. So at the end, once we've stopped accepting new contributions, the transcript is sort of the summary of everyone's linked randomness, or the output of their contribution that anybody can verify after the fact. Is that correct? somebody double check my plan.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I also
Okay.
think it is a set of messages. So I think it's both. Yeah, so I think it's also a set of messages. It's just one message, I guess you can think of it as. But yeah, I think we do have.
Oh, okay. I thought he or they were asking about like the back and forth between an individual participant and the coordinator or something. But yeah, I guess if you look at it a different way, it might also be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be both things depending on how you look at it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think we might rename the transcript and the specs if I remember correctly. Yeah, don't know if I have to check with Carl. I think we're renaming that. But
Rename it to what?
Probably just SRSs.
Oh, so less accessible language.
Yeah, yeah, I think Carl did say something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, we'll figure out a name.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else, we can wrap up here. Thanks everybody for sticking around another 30 minutes to help with the design review, and Charlie for presenting. I guess, oh, one thing real quick before we wrap up is just like, what are people going to be working on the next 2 weeks? I can start. Given this is, sort of the crunch time where we've got a defined milestone we want to get to, presenting the MVP at DevCon, and then working back from it. This is sort of like we had maybe a little bit more time flexibility early when this project started over the last few months, but now we're getting into the area where we really need to, not that the work hasn't been getting done, but just be mindful that like the deadline is approaching, and we've just got to be conscious of how quickly we're getting things done. So I'm going to be helping Charlie with the language and some of the graphics, just helping to shape that a little bit better in the interface. There's some payment stuff for the first audit that needs to be wrapped up. And I will also be making sure we're better prepared for the coordinator audit with Sigma Prime, which is scheduled to start in October. Those are the main things I'll be working on, making sure we have a good idea of what's going to happen at DEF CON. And I think that might be it for me, but that'll be the few things I'm working on over the next few weeks before the next call. Anybody want to go next?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll be just touching up the client API specs, working on with the developers on that, working on mainly with Nico on getting a test server up and running, and I'll continue reviewing design specs and issues along those lines as they come up.
Great. Kev?
Yes, I'll just continue refactoring the coordinator code. Just mainly because I think we might still want to have multiple coordinators, so it'd be good to have two different code bases either way. I'll probably after that I might start going onto the command line interface to interact with the coordinator. Right now we're sort of focused on the website being a client, but I think we also probably want a CLI command line interface to be able to interact with the coordinator as well. Yeah, I figured out how to do it, but I just haven't implemented sort of anything regarding that just yet. Yeah, and I'll probably just be speaking with Jeff and I guess Nico about the specs some more, mostly in the public channel, just so everyone can chip in. Yeah, and that's it.
Great. Yeah, the CLI is something that I would have forgotten about. So good remembering that. There are definitely going to be some contributors who want to not use the interface. They want to do it on their own, especially for the special contribution period. I think people will be interested in that very much then.
Yeah, so I will continue on the MVP and fill out the imagery and the couple of iteration there. That will and support Takamichi. Yeah.
I will be mostly working on the coding of the front end stuff, and mostly I think we'll talking to Nico and Shelly about the designs, and maybe Jeff about it. Yeah. So that we can show the fancy demo MVP to at the DevCon. Yeah.
Excellent. And remind me which time zone you're in, Takamichi?
I'm in JST. It's I think UTC +9.
Okay, so you're heading into your evening now?
Yes, it's
Okay.
10 p.m. now.
Got it. That's good to know. All right, thank you everybody for coming. Those good updates, and I think really clear picture of what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks. So I think that's it. And yeah, everyone will be in the Discord channel. So feel free to drop any questions there if people are unsure about a specific thing. And by Discord, I mean the ETH R&D Discord. It's where the public channel is. We want to make sure we're putting messages there. Okay, thank you everyone, and we'll talk in 2 weeks and on the Discord.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.